see.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of BW Flix, the average movie critics. I'm your host, James J. Train Martin, and my co-host is Brian B.A. Arndt. And we are glad to be back here to talk about movies, fun things we love. What's up? What's up, Yenzer? How you doing, my man? We love talking about movies, and this is one of the things that we love watching movies, and so we get to do it online weekly Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and interact with you, the crowd, the fans, the moviegoers, those who love movies. We love to interact with you. So comment as we go along through these two reviews. And today, this marks the change that we will have. This is Robert De Niro week, as Brian has so politely and nice, was able to put up Robert De Niro week for me. I appreciate that, bud. But with that being said, we're going to do two movies today. And we're going forward, we will be reviewing two movies. We started out our premise with doing one movie. The last one was The Last Starfighter. And hopefully that's the last time that we talk about The Last Starfighter, as it was a dud, a major dud. But we will be talking about Once Upon a Time in America with Robert De Niro and James Woods. Made in 1984, and we will also be talking about Limitless in 2011. That was stars Bradley Cooper and also the aforementioned Robert De Niro. And I'm going to let Brian go over some superlatives in regards to the first movie, Once Upon a Time in America, as that'll be our first subject of discussion.
So Once Upon a Time in America, of course, we know that came out in 1984. It was directed by notable directors Sergio Leone, starring Robert De Niro as Noodles, James Woods as Max, Elizabeth McGovern as Deborah Jelly, and Joe Pesci as Frankie Minaldi. Now, Joe Pesci didn't really have too much of a scene. He had a couple scenes in there, but he was the Teamster tycoon from Detroit. And let's see, the music was by Ennio Morricone. That's an Italian name, let me tell you. Production companies, The Lad Company, PSO International, Embassy International Pictures, and Refrain Cinematographica. That's also an Italian company, by the way. Distributed by Warner Brothers. Release date was June 1st, 1984. Running time, 229 minutes. Is a long movie. Budget, I think it was like what was it? 2 hours and 49 minutes or 3 hours and 49 minutes, something like that.
3 hours and 49 minutes, sir.
Minutes, yeah. Budget was 30. Go ahead. You go ahead. The budget was 30 million, but what they pulled in the box office was 5.5 million. So it was a dud.
A major flop. It was a major flop, ladies and gentlemen. And that being said, let me see what. And Walter. What was that? Did you get that?
Walter White retiring old. It's a old movie reference.
Okay, cool. Yenzer, I sat down and watched it, man. I had to pause a few times. And it's so old. It's one of those movies and so long that back in the day, for those of you that don't know, movies used to have intermission where you can get up and go, and it would literally say intermission on the screen. So you can get up, go get your popcorn, drinks, use the restroom, whatever it is you're doing, because the movie is extremely long. And this is one of those movies. And to speak about the length of the movie, the 3 hours and 49 minutes, and to make that amount of money at the box office. But you did mention to me a while back, which made a lot of sense, is that it competed in 1984 with a crap ton of blockbusters. And I'm going to name some of those movies out for you. Beverly Hills Cop being number one at 234 million with Eddie Murphy. Those you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Eddie Murphy made 3 of those, actually 4 now, but he made a crap ton of money. That made his career actually. After he did delirious stand-up comedy, Beverly Hills came out and he blew up as an actor as well. And so clearly the talented Eddie Murphy has gone on to do great things. Yeah, sure. Why not? Ghostbusters was number 2 that year, 229 million. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 179 million. Gremlins, if everybody remembers that, it was that heartwarming movie with the little Mogwai, Gizmo. Gizmo's a rich little dude. He earned $148 million. Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio. There's still the Karate Kid now. With Cobra Kai on Netflix, they made 90 million. Police Academy, one of my favorite series, comedy slapstick shows. Police Academy made 81 million. Footloose with Kevin Bacon, 80 million. Romancing the Stone, if you don't remember that, it's a romantic comedy with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner. Yep. Yeah, and what's the little short dude? Played on Taxi. No, Taxi. What's his name? Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Yeah, Danny DeVito.
Yes. Star Trek. Part 3, The Search for Spock. And apparently, making all these movies, they were searching for money too. 76 million they made. Yes. Splash with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks about the mermaid, the romantic comedy. They made 69 million. And Purple Rain, Prince, the belated Prince, what people used to call him in the 90s, the artist formerly known as, and then he got that deal fixed with the record company and got his name back. 68 million, man. And I'm going to give it an honorable mention. I mentioned it before in the last episode. The Terminator, 6.8 budget, and they made 38 million. Again, 84. They had a lot of competition, but I think part of the reason for this movie failing, I think, over the top. Yeah, why not over the top? Yeah, for sure. And if you can get that money and let us know how much they made with that, that'd be great. So one of my reasons for this movie, I think, not being successful, in my opinion, is just that I think the world probably was like you mentioned a while back. We talked off screen. Another gangster movie with Robert De Niro. The last one he did was in 1974, and that was that was The Godfather Part 2, which he won an Oscar for, and we'll get into that later on. But this is one where the story begins. Did you have anything you want to bring up before I get into this?
No, I mean, you're saying what we were talking about offline anyway. So yeah, that was good. That's good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, the story starts off where we're talking about the premise is a young group of guys. They're not homeless, but they're poor, and obviously put into the criminal life early. You know, we're talking about Noodles, portrayed by a young guy that portrayed, I forgot the actor's name, but ultimately this is Robert De Niro's character, Noodles, and he's the gang leader. And then of course Maximilian is the guy that moves into town, and he becomes good friends with Noodles and his gang partner, and 2 other guys, Cockeye, which I hate saying, Cockeye. This disclaimer: this is in the movie, people. I'm not just saying that. But the guy's name is Cockeye, Patsy, and Fad Mo. Fad Mo, yeah. And so these are all got kids that grew up together, and they had shenanigans, criminal activity early on. But the movie goes between 3 different settings. When they were young in 1918, all the way to where in the 30s when they were young men and young hoodlums, and then all the way further out into the 60s where they're older men, much older men, and things have changed. But we go back to the 30s where there's some things going on and criminal activity, where they're intermingling with other gangs in order to get a higher rise from where they are. They're like peddlers. Yeah, exactly. It was a flop.
And it still made more than this.
And it's still right. All for less money. They spend less money. Right. But I would say these guys ultimately what they were trying to some in the group were trying to. Let's say they dabbled in gang activity, they dabble in gambling, they dabble in prostitution and prohibition. So these were their main sources of income, and smuggling illegal alcohol for other gangs, and robbing and stealing. But some of the guys, such as Maximilian, wanted to get a little bit further ahead. But these guys, at the beginning of the movie, they show that these guys are dead. Patsy, was it Patsy, Cockeye, and presumably
And
Max, presumably Max. But at the beginning, you see that Max's body is burnt, so you don't really know it's him. It's just presumed that it's him. And then it goes out further, and then of course they try to kill Noodles, but Noodles goes to get the money. I'm jumping ahead here. Wow. So these guys, when they were young, they made a pact. Let's get back. Let's backtrack a little. They make a pact to save all their money. All their money they're going to put together and put it in the train station in a locker. And they make a pact to keep the money there, and they will split it when it's time to split the money. Now, going back further, when I mentioned in the 30s, these guys are dead. Fat Mo's beat up because he has to tell where the whereabouts of Noodles is, so they can try to kill him because he's a snitch. And so we don't know why he's a snitch. We know that he's getting high off opium in the Asian joint, and when they come to get him, he escapes, and then he goes to the train station, finds that the money's missing. So someone steals the money. We don't know who, and he takes off into hiding, and he goes away for 35 years. And he's in Buffalo. He's in Buffalo, in Buffalo, New York, but nobody knows his whereabouts. But he comes back to town 30 plus years later in the 60s, and he sees Fat Mo. He tells Fat Mo, look, somebody sent me a letter. They found out my whereabouts, and he don't know what they want from him. So turns out he goes back and gets another letter, goes to another locker. $1 million waiting for him, and said that's good for him but he has to do a job. So with that being said, this movie was 3.5 hours long. He comes to find out that as he goes along, Noodles goes along and finds out. I mean, as he's going along, he's backtracking with memory. He's going through there, looking at what they did to get to where they were. Again, we talk about the robberies. We talk about the alcohol smuggling. He's in love with Fat Mo's brother. I stand corrected. His
Jerry,
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, nothing wrong with that this day if that's your thing.
Deborah,
but in the movie, he's in love with Deborah, who's portrayed portrays the character is a young Jennifer Connelly. If you haven't seen the movie, in the beginning, and then of course as they get older. It's Elizabeth Montgomery. Now, with that being said, you see things begin to unravel. One person on one end, Max is the guy. He's a nut. You don't want to say he's a nut, but he's sort of like that because he has a thing about being called crazy. Noodles has several times in the movie where he calls him crazy, and he goes off because he doesn't want to be called that because his father was insane, mentally disturbed, and so he loses his you know what when he calls him that. But that being said, they get tangled up with another gang affiliate, and that's Minaldi. Joe Pesci portrays his character, who has a short role in the movie. You think you would have some character development and built up the Minaldi brothers. Burt Young, he plays his brother, Joe Minaldi, and they want them to do a job for him and rob this guy for some diamonds, a jeweler for some diamonds.
And Burt Young, you will recognize from the Rocky movies. He plays Rocky's trainer.
His Paulie, his trainer, absolutely, and Adrian's brother. That being said. They rob these guys. They rob them, and you see some of the the depth of the characters and some of the and how they grew up. They first of all they grew up uh, messing with a young prostitute, losing their virginity to a prostitute, and then you see these guys they grow up without any type of scruples or morals, and particularly I keep forgetting the guy's Noodles, Robert De Niro's character. He sexually aids a female, the prostitute, initially during the robbery when they robbed him for the jewelry, and then he does it later to his girlfriend, who says she's going to leave because she wants to go on and further her career in
Mhm.
either acting and dancing, and definitely pretty much get away from him because of his criminal activity. Although she loves him, you can tell she loves him, but she knows it's not good for her. And he does the same thing to her in the car. And while the driver, they're in a limo and the driver's driving and he knows what's going on. So he ends up stopping, but he, he, wow, it was devastating to see that part in the movie. And later it goes on, he's thinking back to all this stuff. And it goes back to the older De Niro or Noodles. And he pays a visit to the Carol because
Mhm. Carol was the one that he
Carol's
sexually
was,
assaulted.
yes, and it was the girlfriend
Mhm.
of Max's later,
Mhm.
where they both going back to when in the '60s. I mean, not in the '60s, but in the '30s. Uh, see, I'm all over the place. That's how long this movie was. It's just so much. There's just way too
In the
much going
60s,
on in the
he
movie.
visited her and she was retired and she's in a retirement
Yeah, she
home.
was living in a retirement home,
Yeah.
but they they kind of they talked about what happened, and I wanted to go back and what happened. So Max wanted to rob the Federal Reserve Bank. He wants to rob the Federal Reserve Bank, which doesn't make sense to both Noodles and Carol, and they know something bad is going to happen if they do this. And so they make it a collective decision to snitch and call the cops. But it happens. I mean, they call the cops. Max, I mean, Noodles calls the cops, but he gets knocked out. And then when he comes to, he finds out that they're all presumably all three of his partners, as I mentioned before, are dead. And when it comes in, obviously when he comes back to the future in the '60s, turns out he realizes that when she mentions that to him, and he talks to Deborah, his former girlfriend, about she's an actress, finds out she's an actress from Carol, and she's big, and he goes to visit her. She's in town. He goes to visit her in her dressing room, and she sort of spills the beans, but she doesn't. Hey, how you doing? She sort of spills the beans, but she doesn't. She just alludes to what may have occurred, and so he kind of deduces that she's with what's the Senator Bailey. She's his mistress, and she's had a child for him. And when he goes out the room, he sees her son David, but the
Looks just
son
like
David
Max.
looks like him, looks like not
Mhm.
like Max, but like himself, like
Uh,
Noodles.
well, n- well, no, he looked at him. He looked like Max because Max is the one that had the child with Deborah. That's why she was mistress, and that's when he looked at her and he looked at him and said, "Dang, you can look like he looks like Max in his younger
You sure?
years." Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it
that
was
was a
I
good
thought it
call.
was his son when he essayed
Mm-mm.
her, and oh no, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't his. Yeah,
Okay.
we good, Camera.
Doing well. Well, um, ladies and gentlemen, I think we may have to agree to disagree because I don't know. I read something on it, and I think it may have said that it was Noodles' son, like a young Noodles, but I mean, you're right. It could be Max. It could be a young Max, and I think you may be right, but I have to look back. Maybe I saw that wrong. But with that being said, he goes and pays, and she tells they have a party, and she tells him not to show up because ultimately he'll be disappointed by the things that he'll see there and find out. And so he goes there and finds out that Senator Bailey is Max, and Max fakes his death, and he kills the other two, and ultimately wanted to kill Noodles and take his life. So he pretty much stole everything from him. He stole his girl, he stole his money, and he made him go into hiding. But with that being said, he also once he's in trouble with some other people and with some scandals, and he knows some people are going to come after him and kill him, but he wants him to do it himself. He wants Noodles to do it, and not someone else. And he's giving him $1 million to do it. But that being said, this is one of the most selfish people that you probably would know. And then there's no loyalty in criminal activity, which is what I gather from this, because he did all these things. And I gathered this. I'm going to tell you, I think I told you this before off air. I knew that Max was still alive. And the reason why I knew that is because he alluded to that Minaldi told him that he should get rid of or ditch Noodles and go on his own way and do his own thing. And when he said that, and also when he looked at Noodles and Deborah and how they were acting together, the look on his face gave a look of jealousy. It gave a look of jealousy. And to me, let me know. I mean, for one, they were all criminals. You couldn't be trusted. But I just think that with that being said, I just thought I was able to deduce myself, just like Noodles was able to deduce that Max was still alive, and he figured it out. And at the end, he walked out. He didn't kill him. And like I said, we give spoilers here. If you're upset with us out there for telling you, we told you before, we're gonna always give spoilers in these movies. So he didn't kill him. He walked out. He probably thought he was gonna lose his life because a garbage truck come rolling past him, and it just kept going. And then, of course, the man in the back came out from the house. I mean, we can think that was Max coming out. And then he looks back and Max is gone. And then the movie, it goes back to him sitting in the
Opium
Asian
room in the
place,
30s.
opium room, and he's smoking and smiling.
Yeah.
Look, there were some good points about this movie. I thought that the direction was decent. I thought the transition from I'm gonna say my point. I'll let you go ahead. The transition from the different time periods was fine. I thought the setting of in New York was decent. But what I didn't like was the length that it took to get to the point. And like I said, I knew the point, but I had to sit another 2 hours and watch it and see it come to finality. And I also had to, like I said, the storyline is predictable. And let me see, the fake death part. I mean, I knew that. I could tell with the burned body. And to me, this was too similar to the Godfather Part Two. I mean, going back and forth with the storyline, that kind of thing was similar to me. But all in all, I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a decent movie. I mean, it was enough to watch once and never watch that again. But what do you think, man?
Well, let me start by providing a clip to the movie. And remember, we talked about the Minaldi brothers. Joe Pesci was the guy that was running a Teamsters unit in Detroit, and Burt Young was one of his. It was his brother, so he was helping him out with the Teamsters. What happened in this particular scene? The gang decided, including Max and Noodles, they decided they're going to take matters in their own hands and take the money and get rid of that side. They basically were doing everything on their own. They wanted to be their own people. They didn't want to be a boss. They didn't want to have no bosses. They didn't have no bosses. They wanted to be their own bosses. So in this scene, they arranged a drop off because they had stolen from the bank where the sexual assault scene came from. And now they're returning the goods to Joe Minaldi, which is Burt Young, so he can take that back and whatever, so he can get the spoils, and they get paid for this, obviously. But in this one, payback is more than what it seems to be.
Any problem?
No trouble. Kid stuff.
So, in saying the kid stuff, there's a whole conversation when they were sitting at the table with the brothers at Fat Mo's bar, and he was saying, yeah, this is Burt Young's character Joe was saying that this was kid stuff that they wanted him to do, and they got kind of offended. They were like, kid stuff? Just because we're young, don't be calling us kids, man. I don't like that stuff. So that line came back from when they were sitting at the table. It was kind of like, get back for that line, that Joe used on them. So, this was a very raw. It was a gangster movie. Most definitely was a gangster movie. But I think that it was a slow moving gangster movie. And there were certain parts, like you said, you had to watch it a couple of times, which was agonizing enough. I think that the acting was decent in there. Although we did when we reviewed this video before, we were talking about, okay, if you're a criminal and the guy that's sitting near the window is getting shifty, how will you not notice that? Everybody's counting. The only person that looked over at him was the passenger guy on the other side there. And I was like, well, he should have saw something. He'd be like, look at him like, you so shifty, man. Why you so shifty? So something's going to happen. But that didn't happen. Little stuff like that bothers me in movies, I guess. I don't know. It's just me. But I thought it was a slow movie.
I agree with you. If you're supposed to be an organized crime, shouldn't you be on alert? You're dealing with everybody. Yes, the length is tragic. Yes, my eyelids needed toothpicks to hold them open because I was watching this movie too long. I never thought I'd be watching a movie that long. I mean, the last movie I watched that was closer to being this long was Gone with the Wind, and that was worth it. That was actually worth it.
Maybe he's a nice criminal. No.
Nice and dead.
I don't know what criminals you know, Robbie, but I don't know any nice criminals. That's why they're criminals. So, but anyway, so what did you have?
No honor amongst thieves. No, I mean, no honor amongst thieves. I would say for this movie and the things I mentioned to you, I'm going to give it 3 buckets of popcorn. I was on the fence on whether or not I wanted to give it 2 because it was just way too long. But there was, like I said, there was some decent parts in it. So I stuck with 2. I mean, excuse me, with 3.
Yeah, I kind of gave it 2 though, because it was long. It skipped through 3 generations basically. And it kept going back and forth. And you really had to follow the movie, and to be as long as it was kind of hard to follow. Now, I'm not saying maybe you can follow it. Maybe some people have more brain power than me and can follow it better. But I was like, okay, we're in 1918. We're back to 33. We're back at 18. Oh, we're to the 60s. What the hell's going on here? But after you watched it, you could piece together what was going on. And just Robert DeNiro's character was he was absolutely an ass in this as a criminal. He definitely was. Yeah. I mean, the sexually assault 2 ladies in there, and again, the viewer discretion is advised in those if you watch the movie. But yeah, that was just.
Yeah, he. I mean, happy Tuesday to you too as well. He was definitely. Noodles was. I mean, if you call him Noodles, I mean, I'm thinking that might be something. I mean, we're talking about someone who might be a little bit off of their rockers a little bit. And so he kind of seemed like that, but at times, but as he got older, I mean, obviously he said he couldn't see as well because he wanted him to shoot him. So, I mean, that's the thing about life, man. You still might have the same character, but you may not be able to do things the way you used to do it. You probably, because a tiger typically in life does not change his stripes, but you could see that did he have some regrets? I think he kind of, when he saw Deborah, he said, are you going to say something to me like maybe, how are you doing? Or how have you been all this time? Or I don't ever want to see you again. I think it's more so you might look at the mind of someone who might be a psycho or a sociopath, in that type of character, because it's just, but Robert De Niro, if of the people that acted in this movie, the 2 people that to me that conveyed their characters well was Robert De Niro and James Woods. I just thought that they did really good with their characters. Everybody else was just okay. But again, I'll give it 3 stars and I'll leave it at that. I mean, 3 buckets of popcorn.
No, Bo is not fired. I don't want to get the professional sports, so it should be BW Flix. I don't know what you're looking at there, Candy. But no, Bo's not fired. Bo's Bo. Bo knows him. That's what Bo knows. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, you gave it 3. I was kind of surprised you gave it 3, but I gave it 2. And
I was at 2 at first, but then I had to look at some other things, and I changed. It changed my mind a little bit. That's it. I wouldn't dare go higher than that.
All righty. Moving along to the next movie, which is Limitless.
Yes, Limitless.
Let me tell you something. I like this movie. I really love this movie. I actually watched it twice. I watched all the movies twice, but I really enjoyed watching this the second time. It's directed by Neil Berger. It's starring Bradley Cooper as Eddie Mora, Abby Cornish as his girlfriend Lindy, Robert De Niro as Carl Van Loon. He is a Wall Street tycoon type of dude. Andrew Howard Janetti. He is the criminal element in this movie. The music was produced by Paul Leonard Morgan. Production companies were Virgin Produced, Rogue, Many Rivers Productions, Boy of the Year, and Intermedia Films. It was distributed by Relativity Media. Release date was March 18th, 2011. Running time was 105 minutes, not 200 and 600 minutes, Budget was $27 million. The box office, very successful movie, $161.8 million was the box office. So it made way, way more than it was made for. So
it was so successful, like you said, it was so successful that it actually spawned a series.
Yep. We can do that.
For sure.
Doing that. Yep.
You bring tears to my eyes. Another 5-hour movie. Well, definitely, we can do that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually that's one I would definitely enjoy sitting down watching it and reviewing.
That actually had some kind of premise to it.
Yes. So now, Limitless. This our protagonist with seemingly lazy or uninspired. I guess is some of the word you might want to use. What's another word for that? Or somebody not just uninspired, but slacker type.
Struggling author. We'll just call him
struggling. Yes, he was struggling author. So, Mr. Mora, Eddie Mora, is 35 years old, and he's not doing well right now in life. He's got a writer's block. He can't get any leave for a first sentence for his not let alone a chapter. He can't even get a first sentence, and he's very smart. You could tell the guy's intelligent. He's got this gorgeous girlfriend. She leaves him because obviously she's going places. She gets promoted. He's demoted pretty much by not having anything. He's about to lose his advance that he got from the publishing company that's trying to get him to write a book, and he's on his last leg, and he by chance runs into his brother-in-law or former brother-in-law from his ex-wife, Vernon, who happens to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. Sales rep. He met him in the street, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe he's a street pharmaceutical sales rep. And they catch up, and he but now he's on the up and up. Apparently not. He tells them about this new trial drug that's FDA approved called NZT 48. It's got a name for it. I wanted to
NZT 48. Yeah.
But in real life, it's a nootropic. It's supposed to be an enhancing drug that helps cognitive, creative, motivating. It's supposed to enhance all of those things times 1,000, I suppose. And so he tells them about the drug, that there's no side effects, and he's lying through his teeth. He knows something's up. He takes a sample. he reluctantly takes the sample. He brings it with him. He takes it right before he bumps into his landlord's wife, who she's giving him the business about everything, not paying his money, being a bum, and all of a sudden the medicine kicks in. It kicks in, and he's seeing everything. It's enhancing everything. He saw a book that he hadn't read in years when he was in college. He by passing at a girl's dorm room, he just happened to glance at it, and so he was able to come up with all kind of things that he triggered that was in his subconscious that he didn't remember, but it was there because he ran across it years ago. And so this tells you right now that, okay, this is the kind of medicine he's taking and what it can do for him. But you don't know, again, whether or not this has any side effects. But he helps the landlord's wife out with her law studies, but he also helps himself to the landlord's wife as well. And so,
which seems to be a theme in this movie.
Yes. And so also he goes and writes several chapters of the book, and he decides to clean up. So it's letting you know, okay, this is something kind of reminds you of, what is that? The focus drug, Adderall. Maybe, I don't know, just like an advertisement. This movie is a big advertisement for Adderall at the time in 2011. But he goes off and drops off.
Basically, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It makes you not use 20%. It makes you use the whole 100% of your mind instead of the 20% that you say yet you use. So
they're tapping to all the neuroreceptors in your brain that allows you to focus on everything and utilize it. And so he loses everything the next day. And so he goes back, finds Vernon, and Vernon knows he wants more. So he doesn't have the money right now, but he uses him. He makes him go and pick up dry cleaning, go get breakfast. And this is a big favor for Eddie, because when he comes back, he finds Vernon dead and his place ransacked. So at that moment, he deduces that they were looking for what he has, and he knew it wasn't FDA approved at that moment too. But he calls the cops. But before before the cops get there, he goes and finds the rest of the stash that the guys, he probably couldn't figure where to look. And so he's thinking like, okay, he wanted me to go get breakfast, so he's probably not cooking. So he finds the drugs in the stove and hides it and put it in his back. And he goes to the cops, explain what happens and who Vernon was to him. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, his life is improving for the better every day. He's figuring out, he borrows money from this sleazy loan shark. What's his name? I forgot.
Janady.
Janady. Thank you.
He's like a Russian guy, kind of like a Russian guy.
Yes. And he's so sleazy, man. But he tells him, hey, you don't bring my money back, I break legs.
Right. Basically, yeah.
I break legs. He said, good luck. He walks up, good luck. But yes, so he borrows the money, he starts trading, and he making things happen. It's much to the notice of financial tycoon Carl Van Loon. So he notices him as well. I mean, the man, he's meeting people, he's going on trips with people, doing things like you said later on with different women, partying with women. He's learning different languages, speaking, going on a date with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, speaks in Mandarin and Italian. Excuse me. At the first time he speaks in Italian, and she's shocked. And not only is she shocked, she's intimidated. Bradley Cooper was great. He was very charismatic. He was very like aloof, not aloof, but you could see he portrayed both roles. He portrayed the down and out Eddie Mora, and when he takes the medicine, you can see the potential Eddie Mora with the medicine, what he should have been without the medicine prior to. I mean, obviously what his girlfriend saw the potential in him, but it just obviously he lost that. But with that being said, he he's doing these things. He's going to help Van Loon figure out how to what to do with a merger with his rival Atwood. So what's Atwood's first name? Sorry, Hank Atwood. And Hank Atwood turns out to be in a coma. And why is he in a coma? We don't know. But my man Mora, he finds out, he deduces that that he's taking, yes, exactly, charming the underwear of everybody, sir. With that being said,
Literally.
he deduces that, yes, literally, he deduces that the medicine was for Atwood. That's how he got to be where he was. But because he didn't have any, he was having withdrawals, and that's one of the things that the side effects that were Mora actually he lost. Yes, people were either in the hospital or they were dead, and it was making him sick as well because he had lapses in his memory. Like he'd end up in a place or walking somewhere and he didn't realize he'd lose memory of how he even got there. And the situation where he was with that girl in the white, he took her to a hotel. He woke up somewhere else. He didn't, and turns out on the news, she turns up dead, and someone saw him they made him as a suspect. And not only that, he's being followed by some guy in a trench coat. He finds out, this is where he finds out that Atwood was taking the medicine, because that same guy that was chasing him and his girlfriend in the trench coat ends up being the driver for Atwood. And so he knew.
And just on a side note, that actor's name is Thomas Arana, and he's been in movies that you've seen, pretty famous movies: The Hunt for Red October, Bodyguard, where he was the other bodyguard,
the bad FBI,
that was trying to get Whitney. He was in Gladiator, Born Supremacy, and Dark Knight Rises. So he's been in some pretty good movies. You'll notice him. He's always the grungy guy, but
yes,
the grungy but classy guy.
Yes. And so Eddie Mora, he goes in a lineup and he puts his jacket back on. His attorney turns out to be hired by Atwood. It's not his attorney; it's Atwood's attorney. Mm-hmm. And they figure out, and he made secret compartments in all his suit jackets so he can keep his medicine in there. And so he stole the medicine back, but then the fool does not bring it back to Atwood. He keeps it for himself. And so Mora goes and finds the guy and finds him dead on the floor, and finds out that the guy kills the attorney for not giving the medicine back to him, and he gives it back to him. And because Atwood dies. Atwood ends up dying. And what else about that movie?
Awesome.
Say it again.
No, they said how you guys. I said awesome.
Hey, awesome. Yes. I hope you're well too. So Atwood dies, and Eddie he figures out a way to be able to control the medicine, and he goes through some trials in regards to making sure that he eats. He's very smart, so he's finding out that people probably weren't eating properly. He controls his dose. He sleeps as well. Because a lot of times this drug is so high, it's like it's dopamine. So you're not doing the things that you're normally supposed to be doing. And so he figures it out, and he hires a guy, a scientist, gives on the slick, give him $2 million to be able to figure out the medication and how he can bring it back and dial it down a notch to be able to take it without having any of those side effects. And later on, a year later, he's running for Senate. And of course, Van Loon comes up to him and tries to extort him. He tries to extort him and tells him he shuts his lab down, and he wants him to be able to. He'll make sure that he has the medication, and he kind of figures out that this guy is so smart, he's going to be president one day. But he wants him to be president. He'll make sure he's taken care of, and that of course, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, with politics, of course. But then Eddie Mora lets him know that no, this is not going to happen, because What if I don't have to take the medicine anymore? What if I figure out a way to be able to make the medicine myself, but I can deduce it and wean myself off, and I don't need you at all. And so he lets him know that he's a few moves ahead of him because he sees something happening, or an accident that's about to happen, and Van Loon doesn't know, De Niro's character doesn't know what's going about to happen, and it actually happens. And
we do have a video on that too. So
yes, let's watch that
let me
video.
show that real quick. And you explained it perfectly too. So I didn't have to.
My synapses didn't change, that I kept absolutely nothing.
You have no idea what kind of enemy I
That van's gonna rear end that taxi.
What?
The driver's distracted. He's texting. He's going 30 miles an hour. He's 60 feet to stop. He doesn't have room.
What the heck?
I see everything, Carl. I'm 50 moves ahead of you and everybody else. What makes you think I don't have a guy with a beat on you right now? How do you know you're gonna be alive this time next year?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's got some. He finds out that he has some heart issues just by palpating his chest, and he already knows it, and so he knows that he's lost. And so he gets in his car with his tail between his legs, drives off, and goes on about his business. He said, "You wouldn't want to do this, because I mean, if I work for you, all I do is make you my bitch." And I'm sorry if that's anybody out there.
Yeah, that's what he said, though.
But that's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
And it was one of my favorite lines of the movie. And I just loved, and of course, it ends with him at dinner with his girlfriend, and he speaks in Mandarin, and then he laughs. He looks at her, and she's like, "Oh my God, what's been created?"
He says, "What?
He says, "What?
What?"
So great movie. As the Yinzer alluded to, that he was very charming and charismatic in his movie. Bradley Cooper played a great role in this movie. I thought it was excellent. I think when I watch it again, because I watched it back in 2011, and I watched it again several times. I've seen some of the communication between him. I thought it was a little not snarky, but it was just trying to sound too intelligent when he was talking to people about certain things. I thought it was just a little extra, but I guess that was just part of the charm of the movie, and it was just like him just having full clarity, and so he's just talking about everything that he's going to be doing and what going to do. And you're giving it 4?
I'm giving it 4. I didn't mean to put it out there that soon, but whatever. Go for it, though. Do your thing.
I'm still going to give it 3. I think it's a very good movie. 4 is strong. It's a very strong, and I thought it was good. It spawned. Look, it made a lot of money, and it spawned a series that only lasted 1 season. But that being said, it's a movie I still want to watch more often than not. But revisiting the movie over and over again, it's starting to lose some of its luster to me, just some of the things that go on in the movie. But I still like it. It's fun. It's a very good movie, and like he said, Bradley Cooper made the movie with his character. Robert De Niro, he plays a villain well. I liked him playing a villain in this movie. But again, it's enough for me. I got it as 3.
I'll go back to mine. Yeah, I give it a 4. I was going to give it a 3 too, but I think because of the acting ability of Bradley Cooper in there, and basically all of them did a very, very good job of acting. Whoever it was that was playing their parts. Robert De Niro did a really good job as being a tycoon. Abby Cornish did really good as being Lindy, even though she had limited roles. I think the person that you're missing out of this whole situation was Andrew Howard as Gennady. There was a part where he goes back where after he does all this stuff and he gets the pills he doesn't get any pills. He loses or something like that. He goes back to his apartment, which is a fortress at this point because this is what he buys. Gennady breaks down the door, demanding more pills, and now he's taking them. Now he's the more confident guy, and he's like running an organization now, and he's learned how to inject the pill into his bloodstream so that it lasts long for him. And so he ends up Eddie ends up killing him, and then he's on the edge of dying himself, and as the blood is pouring out of And then he starts licking his blood up, and that's how he gets re-energized with the pill. Oh, that was weird. That was a weird part, though. That was weird. That was almost like on a vampire part there. But yeah, he does that, and he re-energizes himself, and he gets rid of the other two hoodlums that are in the apartment as well. And so he also plays a pretty good role in there too. The Grenetti, he's really good in it too. And I gave him 4 because it was all over the place for a minute, but at the same time, it gave you glimpses of what was going on between the people that were providing. Because you really didn't think about the Hank until he was going through all this, and then he talked to his wife. And then he talked to his ex-girlfriend, who happened to be his ex, the ex husband-in-law, ex son or
Melissa,
whatever.
Melissa,
yeah. Melissa's character, Vernon, and she turned and just said, "Hey, people are dying around us, and we're taking it." She had taken it too, but she had found ways to get off of it, so she was like in withdrawal at this point. So I mean, it was good all over the place. I mean, it had the scenes that it focused on. It was really good. But you could come back to it and say, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's cool. All right, I got it now." I think the whole thing with the whole thing where he took the first pill with the apartment manager's wife, that was hilarious. Because she started like, throwing, listen to as he was gabbing at her about the whole law thing, and she was just like, and the next thing you know, he's doing his thing with her. I'm like, this dude, it's outrageous, man. But I mean, he was just smart. He was doing that at parties too. He was just a chick magnet. That tells you like chicks like smart guys and then that know a lot of stuff. So I guess that was the premise of that part of the movie, but yeah.
Right. But it was, all in all, it was a good movie. But at the end here, we got about 7 minutes left here. We normally give a bio out, and we're gonna do a bio of Robert De Niro since he was in both movies, and then we will tell you what preview the 2 movies that we're gonna do for next episode. So, but Robert De Niro, most of you, obviously, everybody knows who Robert De Niro is. He's born August 17, 1943. He's won a couple of Oscars, one for The Godfather in 1974 and one for Raging Bull in 1980. He was born, like I said, born in Manhattan. He's the only child of painters Robert De Niro Sr. and Virginia Admiral. When he was young, he performed in school plays, and that's what led him to saying that he wanted to, that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. So he dropped out of school at age 16. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ending was kind of weak, man. But I mean, but it's still, except the making my bitch line. That was actually pretty cool. That being said, Robert De Niro went on to pursue acting. He studied at HB Studio and Lee Strasberg Actor Studio. As a young actor, his inspiration came from the works of Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift, James Dean, Greta Garbo, Geraldine Page, and Kim Stanley. Robert was he initially started in small roles, but eventually, like in Blood Mama 1970 and Hi Mom 1970, and the Wedding Party in 1969, and those latter 2 were by Brian De Palma. Mm-hmm. In 1973, he collaborated with Martin Scorsese in the gritty drama, street drama, Mean Streets, which he was was told to have a great performance. He played Johnny Boy Savello, and he was co-starred with Harvey Keitel. I did see that movie. That's actually a very good movie. From here, you see him continue his climb to new heights as he's portrayed the role of the young Vito Corleone, The Godfather Part 2, for which he won an Academy Award, an Oscar, for Best Supporting Role. And then, of course, he would go on to portray the character Travis Bickle, the taxi driver. Taxi Driver is such a great movie. For any of you have not seen that, to see Robert De Niro at his best, that is one of the, and it's got one of the famous lines in it. Are you talking to me? Wait a minute, there's nobody behind me. Son, no, are you talking to me?
Talking to
Do
me.
that those eyesight like this? Me? Are you talking to me? All right. So, and he lost 30 pounds for that role. Again, in 1980, Raging Bull, he continued his streak of success as he does a brilliant job in this biopic portraying Jake LaMotta, for which he plays the middleweight boxer, where his temperament and his attitude breaks up him and his family, and it's sad. It's a very good movie though. He won his second Oscar for that, and he's going to do a lot of movies, some great movies. I'm just going to name a few because I know we're short for time here. Falling in Love, The Mission, Angel Heart, The Untouchables, where he plays Al Capone, Heat, We're No Angels, Goodfellas, of course, Cape Fear, and he was Backdraft, which is one of my favorite movies. This Boy's Life, A Bronx Tale, Frankenstein, Casino. I mean, a lot of great movies. The Fan, which is an underrated movie. Copland, another underrated movie. Great Expectations, Analyze This. It's comedic humor is in there as well. Men of Honor, great movie. Meet the Parents movies, Jackie Brown. And there's a lot of other movies I can name about Robert De Niro, but I think most of you know them, and you can also Google this if you don't know. With that being said, we are going to preview movies. We're going to give, first of all, we're going to say rest in peace to Chuck Norris, who we just lost not too long ago, in 1940 to 2026. A karate icon. We're going to do 2 movies of his next week. So for those of you that don't know, who's this your first time watching, we give spoilers. So please watch the movies this week. Watch them as much as you can. The movies there are Sidekick and Missing in Action. Sorry, Missing in Action and Sidekicks. 2 great movies, I think. And I'm giving my takes slightly already. I think they're great movies. But again, we'll talk about them in detail next episode. And with that being said, please, if you like our show, subscribe to YouTube, or you can watch us live on Facebook. But subscribe, like, and share. Share the content with any and everybody that you know out there if you like this. And because we're gonna, and you can email us or talk in the comments about the movies that you want us to review. But email us at bwflix2026@gmail.com if you want to give us either critique or give us a movie that you want us to review. Again, it's bwflix2026@gmail.com. And thank you for your participation in this and for watching us. B, you got anything?
Nope. Everybody have a good
night. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Peace.